talk about now are strategies and how our strategy is going to affect our performance. So the first thing that you want to talk about is your competitive strategy. And you want to kind of figure out what your competitive strategy is going to be. Are you developing a high-end product that's new technology? Or are you developing a product that's for resource-constrained areas, so it's got to be very low cost? All these things are going to determine how our supply chain is going to be structured. Maybe you're redesigning a product to make it faster, cheaper, more reliable. All these things are going to determine, that's your competitive strategy, and they're going to determine what your supply chain strategy is going to be. So let's take a look at Target and Walmart. At first glance, they might seem like they are very similar. And actually, they have very different supply chain structures. So Target, you remember their motto, expect more, pay less. Well, Target, while it tries to sell lower cost products, also tries to have some value to it. So for example, they sell a lot of designer clothes at a reduced price. Whereas Walmart is less concerned about quality, Target wants you to be able to get some value out of your product. The product is going to last for a little bit longer. And you're going to pay slightly more than you would maybe at Walmart. Walmart is less concerned with quality, but it's more concerned with low cost. So they're completely different competitive strategies, even though at first glance they look very, very similar. So how does this affect your supply chain? Well, you remember, so you have your competitive strategy developed, and you remember supply chain incorporates things like sourcing, distribution, marketing, and all the internal workings of, say, production. So you might start with your product development strategy first. And what is this going to do? Well, this is going to define what products you're going to bring to market. So if your competitive strategy is going to be a very high-tech product, then your product development strategy is going to be bringing the most cutting-edge product to market. So now that we know what's going to come to market, then we want to look at our marketing strategy. And our marketing strategy is going to divide our customer base. So maybe we're going to have two ends. We're going to have low-end, one customer base that's going to buy a high-tech product but the cheaper end of it, whereas you have the other end of the customers which are going to buy the high-tech product, but they're always going to buy the latest and greatest, and they're a lot less concerned with price. So now that you have these two things set, now you can focus on your supply chain strategy. So if you recall, supply chain incorporates things like distribution, sourcing, production. So now that you know, okay, I'm trying to make a low-cost product, I'm not going to source high-end raw materials because that's just going to drive up my cost. Your competitive strategy is what drives everything forward. We want to have a product development strategy to determine what products we're going to bring to market. We want to have a marketing strategy that's going to help us price those products, and then that's going to help us determine our supply chain strategy as to where we're going to source from, how we're going to transport things. And we'll talk about that a little bit in the next couple slides about responsiveness. How are we going to transport things, and how are we going to produce them?